Hello, we're back again with another game this week. This is Purdue Azure versus Wayne State University. We're starting off on Lijiang, and we're seeing a Purdue Azure Vendetta ban. Pretty par for the course at this point. A lot of Vendetta bans recently. Just because of how oppressive she is with the right resources. Very annoying to deal with for a backline, especially if you're not confident in your backline's ability to escape or your frontline's ability to peel. You can really easily punish a Vendetta with a coordinated jump back, but that requires a coordinated jump back. Sometimes that's just not possible with the characters you need to play.
I do see that it looks like one of Wayne State's players, Autumn, does have some time on Vendetta, but also a significant amount of time on Reaper. And those playstyles can kind of lend into each other with the kind of lifesteal omnipresent in enemy backlines. And so I wonder how versatile they might be in being able to switch up those playstyles between Vendetta and Reaper.
Oh, Sigma ban too. From Wayne State. I assume they're trying to force. I don't know what Azure plays, unfortunately. So
Looks like we're getting taken game.
yes. Yeah, I feel that Purdue, if they have a map choice, should very much be looking to play a more poke comp next match, or next map, because they got that ban out of the way. Pretty nice to have. We are seeing a Cascat, Cascat with a bit more of a dive. with a bit more of a dive front line. Sorry, I just heard the cat. Um, only thing I can tell with that is that the cat is really meant to solely exist for the cast, and they have to essentially work as one cohesive unit, which kind of sucks if your team requires a lot of support. However, Valkyrie Tracer specifically is pretty good at not needing that much.
We do see Wayne State run out with the Diva as well as double hit scan composition. So maybe we'll see a split with the Diva and Kiriko.
Oh.
And Diva gets booped off the map.
Didn't even get booped, just walked off.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, no, pause. Do you? Okay, so they've learned how to pause. Yep, guess someone, yep, restart. Okay, makes sense. Pretty unfortunate. A lot of ult charge lost, from a DC. But yeah, it seems like that the point of the ball there was really just to boop off the map on this specific part, which I don't feel like is the most necessary role for ball here. I feel like Lucio could have done the exact same thing while still providing passive value. Ball diving your Ashe would actually be really good. Well, for the ball, it'd be really good. Because you can just continue up that chase, especially because both hit scan should be on different angles, and they'll be a bit more isolated.
We did see that Tracer come out aggressively, almost taking out the Ashe before the pause came out. So maybe we could see some coordination between the ball and the Tracer, just kind of wreaking havoc on this double hit scan composition, even beyond just trying to boop off that bridge there.
Yeah,
so
it'll definitely be a lot easier with their comp. Feels a lot, I guess, more cohesive than Wayne's comp because they don't really have a dedicated frontline or a dive DPS lineup or even support lineup. Both of their DPS are more pokey. Ashe Soj. Diva isn't really that. She's good at peeling, but she's not the best at supporting two hit scan, especially because they want to be in a different angle. The Diva doesn't really have anyone to go with in if she makes a dive, except for the Kiriko, but you really don't want to send your Kiriko directly into a front line. It's just not ideal. And BAP is probably going to be chilling back with your hit scan or on a different angle. I feel like their goal there, if they're going for a comp that is not solely made out of their heroes that they're comfortable on, I feel it's definitely a more, we're just gonna damage them until they die.
could be not entirely conventional, but we do see some upward / horizontal mobility with the hit scan, so maybe they could be planning to try to use the Diva to try to reposition across the gap. But yeah, I do find it odd that the Diva is coming out with a more stationary backline.
Let's see. Yep, everyone's back. So it seems like we're gonna be starting up again. Once again, pretty unfortunate for ult charge. Oh, they're entirely switching up the comp. Cool. Sombra makes significantly more sense here. Cast, a bit more close range. On this map, you don't really need that long range. Short range with cast works fine. Still don't think that the BAP will be doing too much, but Sombra will help.
We see Wayne State's DPS taking the angle on the right, pushing out Ripsy on Tracer. Kind of split here without any support for either side, except it seems like Viper's Cat is looking down towards the Tracer. And they're able to push Tracer back to point while Ball tries to collapse on this Bap and Diva, with Kiriko poking in from the side.
I definitely feel like that capacity is going to make it so the Ball can't get as much value as they'd like. Hinder's annoying. We might see Schmelp go down here. Yep, just took too much damage, unfortunately. Probably just going to be a reset for Purdue here. Yeah, losing your ball is pretty unfortunate here. They're really close to some good ultimates here, being Deadeye, which they're probably playing for. Mines is a great control. Oh, losing your cat again is really annoying. Or, not cat, Ball, wrong animal. Very annoying. However, Mines is really good for controlling space. We're seeing Cat go in for a little bit of a dive. Does get poked out a bit, and does end up falling.
Cat does have some impressive survivability there with the amounts of mobility. Able to get in and out of that window, but still just not enough. Trying to push into a Cassidy, as well as the rest of the team.
Definitely would have been better for making that dive with a Tracer or anything. We're seeing a bunch of ultimates come out.
Minefield and High Noon.
Yeah, High Noon doesn't manage to get anyone. We also saw Pulse Bomb getting 2 picks. Purdue should be able to win this fight, considering there's only 2 people still left, but they're looking for the Sombra at this point. And they just got
They were able to just kind of walk onto point there while High Noon was active, taking cover behind that midpoint. Yeah, so they were able to take extra percentage during the fight, which could be big here.
Yeah, it was definitely really good. Yep. That was great. Yeah, no, Catnap there is really good. Schmelp does die, but it's likely gonna only be the Sombra who can touch.
It's just Autumn here. And Autumn goes down to Ripsy.
Yeah, not gonna. Unfortunately, they weren't able to really use any of their ultimates there. Both the teams essentially held on to them, for the entire match, which is kind of unfortunate for both teams, but, it does mean that they are able to, that they built up their ultimates and had the opportunity to use them, even if they didn't. We're seeing a Reinhardt come out from Schmelp. I feel like it's slightly not ideal on, this map specifically, because if you run into a Diva who can kind of just walk around you, you're not exactly in a good situation. Otherwise, comps look to be the same, except for a Ana, then more of a stationary backline. Oh, we are seeing a good peel from Viper there, noticing the Sombra and trying to get help. Zap does manage to peek over, however, I do think that Schmelp is dead. Nope, not yet suited. However, with all of the support from their backline, does manage to survive, and some 2 good picks from the DPS line who are off doing DPS things while the supports were keeping everyone else alive.
Sombra trying to get a late kill onto Kiriko, but ends up getting staggered.
Yeah, it seems like that's the play they're trying to go for, just outlasting. Actually, yeah, no, I feel like that is what both teams are going for. They're trying to have their DPS line focus on the other team's backline, and just trying to win the tank trade. We are seeing Wayne switch over to Mauga, which is significantly easier to win the tank trade on.
And a May, switching off the casts.
Yeah. If they can burn down this Mauga right now, okay, they burned down the May. They can definitely burn down the Mauga right now, because considering he's a little bit isolated. Okay. There's 3. Oh, that's 4. But yeah, switching that late is gonna be quite annoying. Even though Melga is technically a better character, and they just want to tank trade, they don't have the ultimates that Purdue has. They don't have the, I guess, coordination in comps that they do. We're seeing them back on Rhine. They're on Zen, losing their only ultimate they had. Maybe they can build up to a EMP, but probably not fast enough.
Both Ryan's going in, getting stunned. Schmelp gets purple and gets picked out. Purdue kind of on the back pedal here with 3 alive.
2.
Viper getting picked late.
Yeah, quite unfortunate, but Ryan just got antied. Kiriko fell. Kind of unfortunate, but they have very high percentage. They have a lot of ultimates. Catnap here. If you catnap the Ryan, he's dead. If you catnap the Ana, dead. Everyone essentially but Sombra being catnapped is an instant loss for Wayne here.
We see the Blizzard come out just after it. Kiriko gets there. The Suzu drawn out by Sombra. Get Rush coming out and Nano.
Purdue is trying to just hold on. They're trying to wait for their Ryan to come back. Unfortunately, they got picked off a bit too quickly. Just gonna wait to regroup. Losing 2 ultimates is kind of unfortunate. However, you took out Blizzard, you took out Nano, you're fine. They're gonna have to be worried about the EMP though, which just came out. Okay, a lot of ultimates there. From Lane. Once again, kind of unfortunate. However, now they only have trance, should be good for next fight. If they can use an early high noon, if they can pulse bomb an Ana or Zen, actually probably not Zen, who has trance, but regardless, pulse bomb a backline, you're fine.
Potential cat noon here.
It's likely what they're going for. Actually, no, they're not. Oh, that's kind of unfortunate.
Cass is a nice angle, but has to watch out for that Sombra stealing it from behind.
And she does. Trans, this would be a pretty good opportunity to use Deadeye, however, just doesn't pull it. Everyone's very low. Yeah, Ana's very low. Zen's very low. If they can get a nice kill with the pulse bomb, not able to. Ana does die, however, it's only Ripsy on point. Maybe Viper can touch, but not likely. Kind of unfortunate, but...
Does look like Kitsane on Sombra is doing a lot, even just poking out that Kiriko, forcing Suzu early. We've seen this a couple of fights now. That just singling out those supports and trying out those crucial cooldowns. And then following up with something like a Blizzard or an Anti to finish off high value targets.
Yeah, no, Sombra's definitely a good character. They're swapping over to Junkrat though. Maybe they think it's better to burn off the tank. I feel like that once again, they're putting so much of an emphasis on tank trade here. Getting a taxi all the way from spawn.
Looks like both Rhines are meeting in White Room. Ripsy going main on Tracer, getting poked out by Zenyatta.
Yeah, I think that this
forces recall and almost dies again.
Zen is pretty potent for one-shotting squishies. Yep, there it is. Maverick falls from a Zen shot. Unfortunately,
both DPS down.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's another way to win the tank trade is to ignore the tank and then go for the supports, which Ripsy and Maverick were doing a nice job at, but just weren't able to do that well on this point. Agent falling, unfortunately, due to a Junkrat. Yeah, pretty unfortunate. They're closer to ults though, even with the swap onto Soch at this point, but
Viper gets blown up, literally and metaphorically, by Junkrat and May.
Yeah. However, Anna getting back from Swan is gonna be slightly more annoying. So it's still a kind of winnable point for Purdue. However, they are very isolated. Your Sojourn's won, your tank's walled off. They need to respect the space of the Zen slightly more. And that respecting causes Schmelp to die, and Agent, kind of. Maverick, unfortunately, not getting a health back, and goodbye.
It seems like Purdue is kind of struggling with trickling here. We've seen almost a 4v5 pretty consistently, with somebody getting picked as soon as somebody else makes it back, kind of leading to a disadvantage during these team fights. Catnap takes out Junkrat off to the side here. Tracer swept into enemy backlines and just gets melted down.
Tracer was slapped, however, having both of your supports not available to help, pretty unfortunate disadvantage here. However, Nano Run is going to be really annoying, especially with a tire coming along the way. You need to try and win this. Okay. And
Tire finding Sojourn in the back.
Yeah. Oh. Pulse Bomb getting kind of eviscerated here. Unfortunately, Ripsy is 1 HP. It isn't able to get back on point. Yeah, unfortunate loss for Purdue there. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they had a good goal at the beginning of focusing on the backline and squishies, and just passively win the tank trade with killing their supports first. But it ended up they just couldn't focus on that as well as they needed to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Zen doesn't make that better because headshot one. If you get a volley straight to your head, you're dead. You're just dead. Pretty unfortunate, but it's now that they have a map pick, it's likely going to be easier for them to do that. Yeah, it'll probably be easier if they can pick a map that's more diveable, I guess.
It's interesting seeing the bans come out that first map, seeing how getting those heroes back into the pool will change up these teams' strategy. Maybe we'll get more of a poke on Sigma, or we'll see how they'll play with a Vendetta in the backline there, perhaps instead of the Sombra.
Yeah, Vendetta is definitely an annoying character to have in your backline instead of Sombra. However, takes a lot more resources, so it's a lot easier to punish. I say a lot easier. If a Vendetta is isolated from her backline, she's most likely going to die. So we're seeing an Eichenwald pick from Purdue with a Zen ban. Once again, makes sense. Zen was pretty oppressive. Where the frick is Eichenwald? There. Nope, that's Dorado. Eichenwald. Definitely pretty oppressive. We're probably gonna see the BAP again, trying to just make it, I guess, harder to dive with their kill potential. However, BAP is kind of behind that, or behind Zen on the one-shot potential that's needed for a Tracer 1v1 win.
I know it's kind of been in my map pool all season, but what kind of comps do you think will be ran on Eichenwald?
One second, let me do the bans real quick. Cassidy, and the other ban is Zen. Yes, Zen. We're just going to kill their backline and whoever's on high ground. Or poke, where it's okay, let's just sit up here, and then if they want to try and do anything when we're on a if they want to try and do anything while we're on a Soj Ash Kiri Sigma from all the way up here, they can go right ahead. It kind of depends. I don't really think a lot of teams like playing brawl comps here, especially on on second point, where you're constantly exposed to high ground. Unless they try and run up the stairs, don't normally see brawl, mostly just dive and poke. And we're probably gonna see the dive comp come out from Wayne here. We are seeing a comp from Purdue. I'd like to say it's poke, but then there's a Reinhardt.
Potentially they're trying to have that Reinhardt as a strong presence in the choke point, and then have the Soldier and Sojourn to poke down the long angle, while just kind of having that Rein in your face. Just because there's limited options when it comes to how to push through this choke point here.
Yeah, definitely, but I feel like having only a Kiriko to help the Rein is not going to be ideal. Mercy can't really do much full damage. We're seeing both teams actually on a Rein mirror at this point, which is curious. I suppose it's for the pin at this point, but
it is Reinhardt's home turf, so
yeah.
Have that going for them.
We're seeing Maverick unfortunately get picked off. Gets rezzed, so pretty good. But Ripsy is pretty low, so he's gonna take a bit to recover. Right now it just seems like kind of a stalemate in the choke. Trying to potentially get a pick. We do see Reinhardt go run onto the back line. Barely managing to make it out. Almost got Mizuki. I don't really know what both teams are playing for other than get a pick and then just go. They do manage to actually get a pick. I was kind of joking on that. But it seems like that the Mizuki's a little bit split off from the rest of his team. However, that's kind of what he does. Reinhardt charges right to spawn. Probably just gonna swap.
See a swap here.
Potentially we might get a pick out before the Junker Queen gets back.
As long as there's enough time between picks, the Viper can just use that res as a very powerful tool, especially with how long the walk from the spawn is. So, kind of allow a pick every here and there, but as long as Mercy has that cooldown ready, just kind of negate it.
Oh, does manage to get out the tire, gets a nice shot onto two people, picked off Autumn, which is really annoying. Maywall...
Junkrat isolated and killed.
Yeah, Junkrat's isolating. Maywall being out of the fight means your Reinhardt's pretty much fine. Especially with the Junker Queen backing up. Oh, they used Valkyrie there that fight too. Makes sense. I feel ultimate-wise, Wayne definitely has the better set. We're seeing a swap over to Domina. Makes sense. She's very aggressive, very good at isolating people, and has that shield. In general, pretty good pick. Do feel like
Junk is isolated once again, but is able to make it back to the team before getting picked.
Yeah. If they can manage to pick off this Mei early, that'd be great. Or just kind of almost killed Mizuki. If they can follow up on that pick, that'd be great. However, sending Reinhardt on that pick is not ideal. Maverick does fall, unfortunately, but they trading the overclock and what the frick is it called? Kunai? Whatever, that his ultimate.
Yeah.
So you can counter Kitsune's. We can probably see the we're not actually gonna see a
Blizzard gets Soldier.
Yep. We're not gonna see a Soldier ult because he's kinda dead. Unfortunately Shatter does kinda get blocked by a shield. Does manage to pick off 2. However, there's 3 on point. Might not be winnable, unless he can manage to get the Domino really isolated, which he does, shockingly. Considering Mizuki and Domino just went on entirely different angles, Mizuki's just playing his life at this point. Makes sense. We're likely going to see a full-ish hold, unless Panopticon can do a great job at isolating the Reinhardt. If they don't break the shield right now, the Reinhardt might be dead.
Now you're going for a pick on Mercy.
Makes sense. Once again, res is really annoying, and you're also losing a very main source of healing. If your Reinhardt does get isolated. Yep. Unfortunately, it seems that Soldier gets killed with, or he gets Panopticon with Visor. Pretty unfortunate. It's just Sojourn on point right now. They had a bunch of people low. If they could have confirmed that kill, that would have been great. But it's likely we're just gonna see a reset. Kind of unfortunate. So they could have almost full held at first, which would have been great. Just an unfortunate thing that they weren't able to confirm that kill.
Purdue setting up on top of Castle here. Makes sense with the Soldier being able to fire down, but Reinhardt, other than being able to shield off the hit scan to give them protection, can't really do much without people within swinging range.
Yeah, I definitely feel Reinhardt would be better on the ground here.
I do see Vendetta swap.
Yeah.
With Autumn.
It'll be helpful. They do manage to get Kitsune. Vendetta seems like a bit late to the party with that push, so just kind of going in without anyone. Not really great for a Vendetta. Reinhardt's kind of dueling on point alone. Not too ideal, but it's fine considering you have a Kiriko and a Mercy. Seeing a Shatter go out.
The Shatter gets 3. It will only pick off Kiriko. Junk goes down as well.
But it's
There's
very low.
Deathmind almost taking out Schmelp, who goes down to Mizuki.
Yeah.
A revive from Viper onto Agent. Mizuki gets Viper for a trade.
Yeah, very shocking that Purdue is letting them trickle onto point and still maintain their hold on the cart. I feel like they should have pushed the Mizuki out, or at least tried to help their Reinhardt more, so that they could avoid people being on point. They're gonna need to use an early Kitsune Rush before a Panopticon or a Tire. If you manage to get that Junkrat, which gets rid of the Tire, once again, Kitsune Rush here would be great. Everyone's kind of there. You can push everyone. Doesn't seem like they're doing that right now. Once again, use Kitsune Rush here before they build up to a Vendetta ult. Great pick on Vendetta means that they're not doing that. Yeah.
I'm going onto the back line but getting picked. A nice pin onto Domina from Reinhardt.
Once again, Kitsune Rush would be great here. Yeah, Tire's likely
point. Almost picks 2.
Doesn't get Kiriko, thankfully. We're seeing Kitsune Rush directly into a Domina or a Mizuki ult, which isn't really going to do too much. Unfortunately, everyone's really low. Is going to Shatter. However, only one on point, only one alive actually, so isn't going to be able to do much about that.
Autumn playing up aggressively, going to secure that health pack room.
Yeah, I feel like Purdue definitely could have played first there, and it would have been a lot easier if they had just used ultimates proactively. Now they don't have to worry about a Panopticon, but they do have to worry about a Vendetta ult, which is equally as annoying as I feel, especially on this map with the kind of one range sightline. We're likely going to see a Vendetta ult soon from that corner. Viper does survive. Oh, never mind. Does fall. Doing that res. Half of Purdue's backline is dead. All of Purdue's backline is dead. It's just looking to be Reinhardt and Maverick. And Maverick is dead again. Yep.
Can we, if we have a second, do you mind making sure these school names on the stream are correct?
They're not. Yep, I'll go switch that. I kind of forgot. Teams. Yippee. Yeah, pretty unfortunate. Autumn kind of just got a 6-day there, I think. Just because everyone was trickling back in, and unfortunately Purdue wasn't able to give the peel that they needed for everyone at once. Just too much resources required, and unfortunately, a Kiriko Mercy can only do so much. But yeah, I definitely think that Purdue can, I definitely think Purdue has momentum, at least, and they can work with it. I don't feel like Hog is the way. Just truly do not feel like Hog is the way, here, but we'll see how it goes. Reaper is probably good here, considering you are able to focus on, you are able to burn down the Reinhardt pretty well. I feel like a Ramatra would be good. Honestly, anyone who's able to get back to the supports a little bit more, or just get out of danger slightly more quickly.
See a cat flying the Roadhog directly on top, getting an early pick on the Kitsane.
Okay,
with
sure.
the Reaper being there to be able to teleport and follow up.
I guess that was their strategy. Gets another hook on the Ana, does manage to get poofed away, I think, by Coach Gun, so doesn't confirm the kill. However, pick early on is pretty nice. Mizuki's dead, unfortunately. Your Reaper does fall. However, that's one support, not really an ideal situation. Ash doesn't have Coach Gun. If he hooks an Ash, yeah, okay. Yeah. A lot of picks on backline.
100% accuracy with that hook. Still 100%, almost taking out Junkrat. Junkrat does get picked by Ripsy, trying to get away. And Purdue takes this point as Wayne State has to fall back, trying to get a good position for his initial payload push.
Switching over to, oh, yep, still 100%
Another hook on the Ana.
Still 100% hook, yeah, accuracy. Okay. Bastion's definitely gonna be a lot more annoying because you can just kind of burn down the Hog. Okay, we're seeing an entirely more mobile comp here. If you're trying to push that little corner with a shield blocking your Bastion, I don't exactly think you're going to be doing too much. Manage doesn't get a hook on Mizuki, kind of unfortunate. Schmelp is in an unfortunate situation, and his supports are dead, unfortunately. However, we are still seeing him fight, getting the Hog off the map. Not Hog. Trying to get Hog off the map, to save the rest of his team. Doesn't. That was a Reinhardt. I don't know why I said Hog, but I'm gonna go with it anyway.
See Purdue coming back, potential ult advantage. Bastion is coming up with ults, but we also have Catnap.
Oh. Well, unfortunately they lost their cat a bit early, which is annoying. However, if they just punish this Mei who is just walking on them instead of running away, that would be really helpful.
They might just need to reset here. With those early picks, it's going to be hard to win that 4v5.
Yeah, definitely.
Try not to get staggered anymore. Just like that, it seems like Purdue is back on their feet, Soldier a bit behind. Early Catnap taking Bastion.
Or well, tries to take Bastion off. Doesn't actually take Bastion off the map.
That little ledge there saved him.
Oh, does manage to get the cat, which is pretty fair trade. However,
goes down.
It's only 2 left on point. However, they do just need to confirm the kills at this point. I don't know where
He's the
Mizuki
key to
is.
back
Mizuki.
lines.
If they can kill this Mizuki, that would be great, staggering everyone even more. Mizuki seems like he's trying to take the
Might
long way
not be
around.
possible here.
Yeah.
Misses the hook. Purdue pushing over the bridge. It looks like there's going to be one more fight left on this point. Purdue can lock this away. They'll have significant time advantage on Wayne State.
If they can get an early Kitsune rush, once again, that'd be really good. Yep, early
There
Kitsune
is
rush
a
comes out.
Kitsune Visor.
Kitsune Visor's
May
nice.
freeze, denying access to that Kitsune. Three
Great.
taken out by Death Blossom.
Great Blossom. Oh, Hog does get flung off the map, however, it's a bit too late for that. That's two really good ults. I don't even see, didn't even see when they used Mizuki ult. But
That Reaper's a nice denial tool for Mizuki. Get everybody bundled together trying to get that healing and defense in. Doesn't do anything to protect from inside the bubble though.
Yeah, I feel like Purdue's gonna have to at the very least wait out this Bastion, and now they can just kind of go in. They do need to keep their Hog alive though, which would be preferable. If they can get a kill on anyone with that ult, that'd be nice. Doesn't seem like they will be.
We do see some anti-Hog changes, Orisa and Anna, but Orisa gets hooked into the side room and this kind of gets ganged up on by all of Purdue.
I mean, makes sense. That's kind of how you can deal with tanks, especially with the Hog. Just drag them in. What are they gonna do? Especially Orisa, she doesn't have any. Okay, there goes your. Orisa's coming in. Cat does manage to get away somehow. And I think that Purdue focusing on that. Yeah, Purdue focusing on that might cause some problems with everyone at really low health. And trying to walk into a Bastion. Even hooking your Bastion closer in. Do manage to get a kill. However, they're gonna need to regroup a little bit, or build up an ultimate really fast. I think that's exactly what Hog's
wait out that Nano.
Unfortunately, Hog was reloading, and he needs to stabilize right now. So he can pop, yeah. So you can pop full Hog, and that should be one.
Death Blossom gets nobody, but is able to get punished. While Purdue's gets 2?
I'd say, yeah. It got everyone on point low enough. But definitely was nice. They used ultimates first. They used a lot of ultimates. Don't know if they needed all of them, but it was still pretty good to have.
Purdue going into this overtime points with a 2-minute advantage.
Which will be very nice. Was Wayne in overtime when they capped?
I believe they had 30 seconds.
Okay, well,
so.
Then at the very least, it's not just the point that they need to cap, they also can get as far as they can. Seems like we're seeing Schmelp back on the Hog. Makes sense. It worked. Especially with the Vendetta. That'd be pretty good. To not have to worry about someone ganking your backline. It seems like we might be seeing a Hog duel. However, Ana's really good for. Actually, I feel like Kiriko might win that. Okay. I feel like Kiriko might win that because Zeus is on a slightly shorter cooldown than Nade, I think. The only thing I can really see is the Cat not getting enough value as they might need. Because you can't really dive anyone except for an Ana, and you're not having a Sojourn running out of dive, are you?
Autumn tries to get Maverick off the high ground. Maverick falls back, and Autumn gets picked by Hog while they're isolated in the mini room. Hog gets hooked, but not able to do enough burst to make any value out of that.
Yeah, definitely losing. And I feel like Autumn should have dropped the other way. Maverick does unfortunately fall, which is quite annoying for Purdue, considering Sojourn does a lot of damage.
They need a pick, but Hog gets taken down as well.
Yeah.
Autumn looking at Agent, now changing to Ripsy. Ripsy is too fast, but gets shot out.
Yeah, it seems like Purdue's just going to try and go for another fight. Makes sense, they have a time advantage. Sucked that their hog fell. If their hog didn't, they probably would have won that. They need to win fast. If they literally just win one more fight, they're fine. But they need to build up an ultimate or something, or take out Vendetta on a misplay. Take out a Bastion who's just too overextended. They need to do something early. Otherwise they're kind of screwed.
I do see a hog pushing out, kind of what
Like
killed
now.
them the last fight.
Yeah,
And
they
that's
lost
a
their
good
Autumn.
pick on Vendetta.
Yeah, like the Bastion was low. If they had took out the Bastion, that would have been great. Ana's pretty low, making a bad rotation. If they could just look to the left, the Ana's 1 HP there. Still, Ana's
hooked
still
out of
1
ult.
HP.
We see a Visor go out in the back lines, able to get Kiriko. Ana half health, uses Nano.
Ripsy does fall, no one touches. Once again, I feel like that could have been won a little bit earlier, but they still won, so it's fine. Definitely was just waiting for the ults to come out there. And Purdue played those ultimates well.
Initiating match.
Yeah, I don't know. I am of the opinion that Purdue has the right idea with this hog pick, but it's not the most ideal one. It's working, so I'm not gonna fault them for it. But I definitely think that some other characters would be better. Yeah, Zarya. Zarya's great at kind of destroying a hog if you leave her high enough health. Destroying anyone if you leave her alive for long enough, actually. And hog, how Purdue's playing, they want to just stay alive and then get one pick and then snowball from there. They're doing a good job at that for now, but Zarya will really be annoying against that. And it would have been great if they just had it would have been great if they had someone who was able to maintain that momentum and use it against their opponents, like a Zarya or like a Jungler Queen.
Hog coming out fast with the cat, but Wayne State learning the lesson, plays far back. Purdue takes all the space they can get, but aren't able to push into the core here.
May uses an early ice block if Schmelk can get a hook, that'd be great. Kitsune, I think that's Kitsune. Oh, yeah, May getting hooked. Does get bubbled though, unfortunately. That should be 2 bubbles out. If they can get a pick here, that'd be great, and not charge up the Bastion to 90% ult charge already. Yeah, unfortunately losing your cat is pretty annoying here. That's a large source of healing. Zarya is doing great at bubbling for supports and just anyone who gets picked. Pretty unfortunate push from Purdue. They're just gonna have to reset.
Wayne State kind of putting everything on the line with their positioning here. Any mess up, they don't have the space to fall back without having to give up points. So we're gonna see maybe one quick pick from Purdue if they can, and then they can snowball from there.
Seems like Purdue's going with the same plan, to just drag your hog over. Unfortunately, once again, I feel like they need to...
Bastion ult finds Reaper.
Yeah, no. I'm pretty sure that was just straight up Bastion, that's on the Reaper. But yeah, no, Purdue just has to get that pick, and unfortunately, with Bubbles, with Zarya, with everything, you're not really gonna get that.
Blizzard gets hog.
Should get hog.
Suzu saves hog, but can they get out? They're purple. They find a pick on the Bastion. Pull hog creates more space, pushing them back to point.
Yeah, they do need to get a pick now, though.
Full support ult for Wayne State.
If they can have this cat kind of attack their Kiriko or an Ana, that'd be great.
With 5 on point, this seems like they're gonna push to second point here. 30 seconds left on the clock to make it around the corner.
looks feasible. However, that's still a fight or two for Purdue. They do have ultimates. They have a Reaper ult, which is very nice. They have Catnap. Catnap with Zarya. Catnap with Bastion. I don't really Catnap with Bastion. That might be a terrible idea. But if you Catnap a Zarya, if you Catnap a Mei who doesn't have Ice Block, it seems like that's what they're doing.
It gets Zarya.
And they have learned their lesson. Yeah.
That's 4 from Death
5.
Blossom.
Yep. And it seems like, yeah, that's Purdue win. I should go change this. Alright. Yeah, no, Purdue played that well, at the very least in the last one. I don't want to say they learned the strategy for playing that comp. I feel like they got an ultimate and the was it the Bastion that fell early? I'm pretty sure that it was the Bastion who just fell early and then ended up snowballing. Which again, what Purdue wanted. However, it wouldn't have been consistent. Oh, we're already seeing Coliseo with a cat ban, which makes sense. It's kind of been very annoying for, where's Cat? There's Cat. It's been very annoying for Wayne to deal with.
But it was surprising being able to just open the fight by collapsing onto a squishy like that Junkrat that from Kitsane stuck on high ground.
Yeah, that was a terrifying thing to see, but I feel there could be worse. There could be worse tanks to drop on your head. I am of the opinion that Junker Queen is equally terrifying. But Domina's probably
imagine.
Up there.
I think, in summary, having a tank dropped on your head could be pretty scary.
Yeah.
Period.
You know, it's not fun, we'll go with. But, you know, maybe a Lucio can just drop a hawk on your head too. Which I feel like Lucio would be a good choice instead of Junkrat fan. Yeah, we'll definitely make it more annoying to burst down someone without the rat. We're probably gonna see a Sombra instead, because that can target supports. Junkrat was more geared towards killing the tank, but yeah, no, seems like Purdue is going to just try and not deal with that. I did not notice that Coliseo had a flying air track to somewhere.
I always love the little, like, sci-fi details that are included in Overwatch maps. Like, I didn't notice that Esperanza has, like, a giant seawall dam thing in the background.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Just like yeah.
Makes sense, considering they're in glorious 2027. Or no, 2070, not 2027. That would be terrifying.
A little bit different from Cyberpunk's version.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah, Junkrat ban made it so you're seeing a more dive comp. I say more dive, they're running Zenana, which I wouldn't say is a dive comp, but you saw how oppressive that Zen is. Kind of makes sense, especially if Schmelp is back on the Reinhardt, which he is, and can just kind of get rolled by a Zen. Tracer will have to be wary about that Zen, same with Cass. However, without the cat, it's going to be a little bit annoying for the Cass to get around and actually have it be a problem.
We see that Sombra back, going back behind, but gets caught out by the Tracer. Tracer not able to mark the teleport. Seems like Wayne State is getting a strong positioning on this right side of the bot, collapsing in even though Purdue has control of the bot.
Schmelp barely stayed alive with the Suzu, but unfortunately just went back in without being properly stabilized. The rest of Wayne is a bit low, however they can't really do anything about that right now, they just kind of have to back up. Ripsy is very isolated and, in my opinion, going on a wrong rotation, considering that there might be a vendetta on his ass quite soon. However, occupying the vendetta is honestly a pretty good use of abilities, considering it means that they're not on your backline.
Ripsy is able to get out, and Vendetta now has to look eye to eye with the Reinhardt. Hops over and tries to get a mark on Ripsy. Does get the overhead slash, but Ripsy gets out. Monkey kind of jumping around looking for a pick.
Yeah, Ripsy does get orbed.
Kitsune goes down, and Ripsy is even still with 1 DPS from either team.
However, I feel
Autumn forcing out agents TP before killing them. Viper isolated with Schmelp trying. Schmelp does help getting that Vendetta off. Trance helps secure that halfway point, getting fast spawn. Schmelp tries to shatter but dies.
Yeah, unfortunate. They do win that fight, but they lost a pretty good ultimate here. That's just kind of annoying. Purdue is back in control. However, the Cassidy High Noon isn't really that great here with all of the corners that you can kind of turn around. You really okay. Surprise EMP from Kitsune. It kind of seems like the rest of Wayne wasn't fully ready to work on that, except for the Winston. However, it does manage to get 3 regardless.
Autumn finds Ripsy.
Yep.
Schmelp just trying to hold space up here as the bot pushes back towards that checkpoint. Are able to get fast spawn once again. Schmelp going to push in. We get a Ray while Ryan is hacked and discorded.
Yeah, hopefully
Maverick gets one.
That Ray probably distracted from the Deadeye impending in their spawn, or not in their spawn. But that was a few ultimates used from Purdue, none used from Wayne, kind of unfortunate. I am once again of the opinion that an early Kitsune should do wonders. However, they get a pick from the Vendetta and from the Sombra, so it might be winnable without ultimates. If they can stagger this Winston.
Their trance here. They do have a support ultimate ready to combat Kitsune.
Yeah, it's just kind of annoying for Purdue. However, if they can catch them before the Zen ends up doing things, that'd be great. Sombra's dead. However, there is a Vendetta on their backline, so Purdue does lose too.
They find Kiriko, and it looks like they're going for Maverick for that late stagger.
Does manage to get a pick though. In return. Once again, Kitsune. Kitsune early would be great. They have good ultimates to win the They have good ultimates to win, but against Zen and Ana in neutral, you're not really going to be doing that much. If they can Suzu, yep. If they can Suzu this Ryan, that'd be great. They get the kill on the Winston. I don't. Oh, never mind.
Two for Blade, full supports.
Both
Not
supports,
too
and
great
your
for
Reinhardt is at 70 HP. Gonna be quite annoying. They Maverick or Ripsy does manage to barely get point. However, he's gonna have to retreat immediately because there's a Sombra and a Winston, and you're not winning that.
Don't let him get away.
Kind of unfortunate there. But Schmelp is back. He's gonna have to get the pick. It's gonna need a lot of help in order to not die though. We're seeing
both Tangled come out.
Both Tangles come out.
But not unable to protect the DPS from falling.
Yeah.
There's Ana and Vendetta, who got stunned by Earth Shatter.
Does manage to get the Kiriko, which is kind of annoying for resetting purposes, but Kiriko gets back fast, so it's not too bad.
Early hack on the Reinhardt from Kitsune. And
Hack
Maverick
doesn't-
is going to challenge that.
Oh, however, Viper does fall, which once again quite unfortunate. Schmelp is kind of isolated, is not able to really help with the rest of his team, so it seems like he's going back. Which is pretty unfortunate, because you just lose summer only, and then you're kind of screwed for a little bit. But Agent should hopefully be able to keep alive Schmelp until the rest of his team gets back. Seeing an EMP out from Kitsune. Does manage to catch Viper, which is pretty unfortunate because you don't have your Ray. It's just Reinhardt. He's not going to live that long, especially not at 100 HP. Pretty unfortunate that he got staggered that much, but yeah, just losing your Ray from an early EMP kind of sucks. They have ultimates, but they're going to need to at least stop this push because they're just continuously losing space, which is not ideal.
Kitsune going for Viper for an early pick, but doesn't seem to get the hack off correctly. Just kind of continuously batted away.
Yeah,
Hook onto Ana is good.
Hook
Ana setting up behind.
Yeah. Gets two. I feel like that hog is kind of what Azure wants to do when they feel like they're getting pushed by the backline too much. Which is pretty fair. I think that hog is good at negating the squishies, and just kind of bypassing whatever a hog or whatever a Winston can give support-wise. It's definitely helpful, but I feel like there's better options like Hazard here that can do similar and still peel, which is one of Purdue's weaknesses here.
Purdue's gonna start needing to use ults, and right as I say that, we get a Ray.
Yep, however,
still have 4 ults in their pocket.
Viper does manage to get killed with Big Sword. However, Ray still keeps him up. And the hog.
Good hook.
Yeah, no, the hog just kind of keeps him up.
Miss with hooks.
Yeah, no. Makes it a lot easier. And Winston drops. EMP comes out, but it doesn't cancel the whole hog anymore. Gets 2 picks. That's great trade. An ultimate for so much space. Winston is looking to. Oh, never mind. They're switching. Kind of unfortunate considering Crown would have been really good at this stage of the game. But Zen Trans is pretty fine, and Nano Orisa is also nice. However, we're seeing Viper fall. Losing your support at this point is really annoying. Ultimate's coming out. They lost both their supports. I think that their soldier fell off the side with Visor, which isn't ideal. It gets picked off. Do manage to get two picks. Maverick managed to get 3. However, it looks like that Schmelp is going to essentially. Oh, not alone. Never mind. Still has to do a lot on his own to almost win. They really need to just win this fight and not get picked off by either a Zen or a Sombra. Schmelt barely, yeah, Schmelt falls. It's just math for it. He's not even there. If he can use Deadeye real quick. Doesn't use Deadeye. Kind of unfortunate. But yeah, once you lose both your supports, early on in that fight, you're not coming back from that. Once again, unfortunate. But yeah, that's what happens with a more mobile team, I guess, with the Vendetta or with the Winston versus Cass Ryan. We are likely not going to see as quick pick for map and bans, considering Wayne probably hasn't had the same amount of time to think about what they wanted to do. Actually, no, it's Purdue anyway. Never mind. I'm forgetting. Oh, never mind. Pretty quick. Havana, ban Sombra. Sombra ban makes sense. Again, was being very annoying. Where's H? Havana. Once again,
I'm curious to see. With the DPS ban, we could see a potential Roadhog ban, or maybe a support ban, but I'm curious.
I feel like it'll be the Hog ban. Although, yeah,
there
no,
it is.
can't see anything else. Hog, yep, there it is.
Very powerful tool to put in their back pocket, but without the tank ban to protect them. And a cat to help kind of eliminates the stationary nature of, say, Ryan or Ram.
Yeah, cat would be helpful, but if they want to do a Cassidy or even a soldier, they really can't have the cat babysitting a Reinhardt. Especially with cat's lack of, not really lack of burst. Yeah, lack of burst healing. We'll go with lack. Even with, I think it's per. It's doesn't really exactly have that much, and Reinhardt needs a lot. Versus the sustain healing that some other characters will need. Because Reinhardt, he's the most likely. I feel like he's one of the most likely to get bursted down from a anti or from really anything that can bypass his shield. But yeah. Kind of hoping we see a Sigma here. we'll be curious to see if we do.
We do.
Yep, makes sense.
Against the Domina.
That's a pretty unfortunate matchup. Domina has she has a slightly longer range than Sigma, I feel. Especially with the Zen. Of course, Zen is really good for eating all of the orbs. However, the problem is that you have to absorb the orbs. And Maverick being on Cassidy is likely going to be taking a lot of them. Soldier, I feel like the cat is...
to Reinhardt from Wayne. Which I did find interesting, because I know that Domina is supposed to be more of a long-ranged poke tank, kind of like Sigma, but she ends up playing a lot more like Reinhardt when it comes to the actual practicality of her abilities.
Yeah. I feel like the cat this game is going to be babysitting the back line here. Maverick falling really low, Ripsy also falling low a bit more.
Kitsane getting some poke from that big room.
Unfortunately, Schmelp looks like he's trying to put a bit more time onto taking out Kitsane, and everyone else is able to push up a lot. They do manage to get a kill onto Ripsy, however, you're just letting them walk up with free space while you're trying to take out this Junkrat instead of letting your Cass or Soldier do that, which is kind of unfortunate. Because Viper's falling, Maverick's falling, Ripsy I'm pretty sure already is dead, and it's just Agent. Yep. We're seeing swapped Sojourn. Yeah, more mobile character, while still helping out with that poke. Kind of close to Bob here. Well, I said kind of close. Will be being close to Bob if they don't touch. When we are seeing the
Viper going in really aggressive, falls low, but is able to get out, hopefully.
Thankfully with
two go down their back line.
The only one that can really hurt Viper is Ash or even Ana. And having both of them focus on the cat instead of trying to get a headshot onto a Sojourn, you're really limiting your opportunities there, we'll go with. Which isn't ideal to spend two people on just trying to take care of a cat. You're seeing Ripsy get headshot, Maverick also getting headshot. Actually, no, that's not a headshot, that's just body shot. Regardless, Schmelp needs to maintain this corner, just try and stop Wayne from pushing too far. And he needs to focus on said main, and not get distracted. Although he can get a pick.
And just gets deleted by Ripsy.
Yeah. Seeing a bit of a retreat into the corner. Viper missed the catnap. Yeah, fair. Catnap, I don't feel like we'll get much value here until third point. Except for dragging away Reinhardt mid-fight.
It can be used quite powerfully as just like a auto-hit hog hook if used with a more brawly team at least.
That is
just
fair.
being able to yoink somebody directly into your team past Reinhardt or whatnot out of LOS. See some ults coming out.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Bob. Bob means that Schmelp is literally the only one here. And except for Viper, who also falls.
Waiting on reinforcements.
Pretty unfortunate. However, that's a few ultimates out that Purdue got. And they still have Sojourn ult, which is really nice. They still have Visor as well.
That forward spawn. Kitsane onto Symmetra.
I feel like it's a good one against shield characters at least. Helps with TPs, helps with making Reinhardt slightly more mobile. And potentially getting your Zen to just kind of walk on a DPS, like a Sojourn or a Soldier. Pretty nice. Don't know if they're going to use it that way or if they're just going to use it as a nice defensive tool as well.
Kid saying poking out to Ripsy, able to get the pick. Doesn't seem like they're playing too far up with their team. It'd be really nice to get that Reinhardt up on the high ground and swinging on Schmelp, but we'll see if they have the coordination for that.
I feel like here Purdue is losing a fair bit of space on the low ground, maintaining really good high ground pressure and consistently getting picks. However, they're pushing the cart really far, even though they're winning this fight. Kind of unfortunate. They have backed up Wayne enough, where they have 4 ultimates. Still have overclock. I feel like they need a pretty decisive fight win with an overclock right now. Just use that, get a headshot instead of having your Sojourn walk on the back line and not use overclock. We do see the visor.
Like you said, they are pushing quite a bit, but it's hard to see them pushing much further without actually being able to poke out high ground, which they are doing a nice job at.
Yeah. Right now, I
Schmelp
feel like
gets a late pick onto Ash. Maybe looking for a touch here.
They likely are.
Onto Zen. And Sim. Maverick coming to help out. Looks like they're able to kind of retake this fight. With Ana trying to make it back. Maybe getting caught out. But Ana is able to regroup.
Definitely was a nice retouch from Purdue, but I feel like they could have not needed that if they had just focused more on the cart, and trying to stop it from moving instead of fully maintaining control over high ground.
A lot of picks from both sides.
It
looks like it's just Ash and Sim against Soldier at this point.
Yes, however, will he be able to touch?
Coach Gun stops it.
Yeah, quite unfortunate for Purdue.
Going on to third point here.
We're seeing the swap over to Lucio, which makes sense. Zoomer on the Reinhardt. I guess they realized that they didn't need that immense poke damage, and the Zen was just kind of a sitting duck.
Flux onto just Kitsane on Sim.
Schmelp is pretty low. Was pretty low for the entirety of that. They're gonna need to do a lot to stabilize.
As well as not Gabe.
Yeah. Once again, early Kitsune Rush would do wonders here. Unfortunately, Simwall is gonna kind of counter that. However, if they can Kitsune Rush around that Simwall, that'd be great. Or like right after it dies. Viper falls. Kitsune Rush into a Simwall again. Unfortunately, they lose Schmelp. They lose Kiriko. They lose Ripsy. Yep. They needed to Kitsune Rush early, unfortunately. But the Simwall just came out beforehand, which made it not possible. We're seeing a cat.
Early catnap onto Sig.
Trades.
It's a trade.
Trades, which is pretty good considering cat versus Sigma.
It's a 4v2. 4v1. 4v0. Boy, I was looking at the wrong teams. No, never mind. It's a 4v2.
Yeah. Simpic is.
My apologies.
Sim somehow still alive, even somehow. Ball for touch.
They're fully using that teleporter healing perk. Very powerful.
Yep. I feel like if we have just Visor come out right now, you can very easily take care of the ball that's kind of rolling on point.
OC going on a backline, and it looks like Ball gets off of point. Getting too aggressive there.
Yeah. No, it's... I feel as if this map could have gone very differently in both ways. The last the last fight specifically was very scrappy, considering it was mostly just for touch. But both teams could definitely benefit from playing more proactively with their ultimates, um, and just trying to do quicker fights. Malga was really good for that. Malga's really good for that. Sojourn is nice for that. Cat, great. Kiriko, great. It'll be really nice to see against a more stationary comp like Orisa, Zen, Ana, Sojourn. That's not Ana, that's Nash. Sorry. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see. We're seeing the opening pick on Widow for Maverick. Might get something, but I doubt it considering how far away the Ashe is. Probably not gonna see anything.
We see Viper and Schmelt with the attack helicopter roll out.
Yep. Seems
Gets
like
dropped
that.
directly into high ground, but gets boofed out by the Javelin, I believe.
But comes back up anyway. Cardiac
it's just
here
kind of in crowd control. Purgatory right there.
Yeah, Cardiac's not great.
Yeah.
Even there.
Purdue backline still trying to hug this corner by spawn.
They did manage to push up quite well. It seems like we're switching off of the Malga onto Sigma. Yeah, poke. It would be great to wall, to leave a shield up there, and just avoid the pressure that Sojourn and Ashe can provide. Especially with Sigma. Ashe is falling quite low. If they can confirm that pick, that'd be great. They do. Really nice for Purdue. If they can isolate this Zen right now, who's a little bit off from the rest of his team. Yep, they do that. At this point, Wayne has to be on the back line, or on the back foot, because there's just, they can't recover from that in at least one fight. Very nice push from Purdue. 5 minutes for the next point is pretty good. We're seeing a lot of switches off onto about the same comp as last time, especially, or just without the Rhine. Purdue's once again taking control of the high ground now. Maverick gets burned. If barely manages to survive. Okay. I take back my words. We're seeing the Kiriko still in point, which made that pick happen. Because they weren't able to get the Cat, or Cat wasn't able to get there in time. Viper unfortunately falls, just from poke damage. They are pushing the cart really nicely, and they're not really getting. Oh, never mind. They're getting kind of stopped with the Sigma.
Bluff on a high ground takes out the trance.
Yeah, forces that out, which is really nice. I feel like a lot of Kiriko players are still remembering the time when Suzu or TP cleansed when TP cleansed status effects, and now they're still trying to use it. Bob's back on point, just trying to keep alive the Schmelt, because there's damage from both sides at this point. Ripsy is getting 2 picks. We're seeing a late Kitsune. Yeah, late Kitsune come out. Viper unfortunately falling. If Agent can manage... Agent and Ripsy might actually have this. Unfortunately, there's a Kiriko, but if they can just do enough damage, it should be fine.
Autumn is back, however.
Autumn's back on the vendetta, yes. Schmelp is on ball. Likely to try and dive Zen. Will definitely be nice. We're seeing Catnap on Sigma.
Catnap takes, yeah.
Which is really nice. Doesn't seem like they're able to get much out of that other than a Sigma in their backline. Just because they weren't prepared, I guess. And Schmelp is kind of busy ruining their Wayne's backline's lives. Doesn't manage to get any confirmed kills, and unfortunately, yep, Smelt is just not able to do enough right now, and they're kind of burning time with these very long fights. The echo for their cattle. Just hearing that. Okay, that's terrifying.
It haunts me from my time in the ladder.
Anyway, ultimate-wise, Purdue has to go fast. They don't have... If they can visor early, that'd be great. If they can just... Yeah, visor early. Oh, Ripsy falls. Okay, that's kind of unfortunate. That then they just have to mines early. Mines their backline, mines the fairly stationary Zen instead of just sitting on point. Agent is going to fall here. Okay, managed to survive on an HP.
Contest cancels it. We see a mines come out on the back line, taking out Zen. Kiri at half has to teleport away. Ball gets just a bit more progress. Trying to take it into one fight territory.
Yeah, I feel like that Schmelp is just trying to back cap. I guess that was his entire point of being on ball, but he's not able to confirm the kills, which is what ball is mostly used for. Maverick falls, Ripsy using visor a bit late, I feel. Autumn getting out of there barely. Yeah, Ripsy doesn't get any kills with that visor. Kiriko is pretty low, but does use Suzu instead. If Maverick can get back from spawn with a overclock, that'd be great. If their ball can stay alive, that'd be great. Yeah, in general, they need to, if they can get a kill on Autumn, that'd be really nice. Yeah.
There it is.
They can do that. They do need to Sojourn ult, I feel, now, preferably.
Have any of them call going into this last fight.
We see Zen getting catnapped, I think. Zen getting dragged into your backline is pretty unfortunate. However, they do trade. They, once again, need to use a Sojourn ult here, to try and get kills before they're on 2 seconds, and before their Junker Queen dies. Unfortunately, Viper falls. Maverick.
Yep.
Yeah. Maverick does get a kill, but.
No ball down.
Yep. And Stump just stays on point. And that is a GG. Oh, everyone is a parent. Okay. I'll play the game. Yeah. So, okay. Yep. Okay, we're back on there. Yeah, I feel like both teams performed well, but there was only a few obvious mistakes from either one. Trickster, do you have any comments here?
Nothing too major, I feel like. Aside from just what we were kind of saying throughout the match. Oh no, I can't think of anything.
That's fair. Yeah, I feel like that Purdue is trying to go for the right idea, at least with isolating the squishies. However, requiring a hog for that is not very good when your own backline's getting dove. I feel like both teams performed well, and they both have opportunities to review this game and at least, I don't know, look at it well, analyze it well. Playing first is a big one, in my opinion, and just playing faster definitely helps with taking your opponents by surprise. Yeah. Don't think there's anything else I want to add. Yeah. Anything else, I guess?
Not much.
Alrighty then. Yep. Think that that'll be it. So I've been Ice, and that's been Trickster.
Oh, yeah, I'm Trickster.
We never introduced ourselves. This is great. I just realized that. Regardless, yeah, good stream. Good game from both teams.
Yep. Hope everybody has a nice break, and